We forgot to mention this during the actual recording of the episode, but Series 8 will be starting on Thursday the 14th of September. Be there or be square. Now, on with the bonus episode.
Wow, how do we do this, Joe? With extreme difficulty. With extreme difficulty. How are you, everybody? How are you?
I can't speak on behalf of the people. Hopefully they've missed us. But
I know how you are, Emerson. I don't need to know how you are. I was asking the people on the internet.
Well, we're back after ages.
It was like
our longest
2 or 3
hiatus
months.
ever. Still, though, I think it's probably our longest hiatus ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder whose fault that was. Certainly not mine.
Oh, well, excuse me for having a job in a foreign country.
Okay, look you. I've had a job this whole time.
Yeah, but you haven't worked overseas.
No, but I work way more.
All right, so here's the plan for today. I'm going to give a full story of my time in the United States, which does involve Joe towards the end of it.
Who?
And we'll be getting into... Sorry?
You should tell them who we are and why they're listening to us, because someone might have stumbled into this podcast unawares somehow.
Oh, okay. Well, if you are one of those people, hello. My name is Emerson, and the guy on the other end of the call is Joe. Say hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
So what we normally do is we cover a very popular British panel show and sometimes a failed American, I say sometimes, one time, a failed American panel show of the same name. Essentially 5 well-known comedians, well, 5 well-known but funny comedians, are put up against a series of tasky tasks and tricky tricks, don't know why I said it like that, to please the taskmaster and win points.
I would like to point out that well-known and funny are both subjective terms.
That is true.
From our response.
But Taskmaster's good at giving some people's careers a boost, which is exciting. But we're not going to be talking about Taskmaster today. As I mentioned, I've been working overseas. In case you couldn't tell, I'm British and Joe is American. I've actually been working in America over the summer holidays in a summer camp in Pennsylvania. And this is the full story, pretty much. Well, I say the full story. There's going to be little bits I left out because they were either not interesting or I forgot. But pretty much the basics of everything. And Joe is going to ask me questions so that I don't...
I am?
It's not just me rambling. He's just going to ask me various
Nobody
stuff.
said there would be questions.
Oh, no, it's just like, you know when someone tells you a long story and you just sort of like, you have questions sometimes. That's sort of what it is. So, the irony to all this was that even though I was the closest to Joe that I'd ever been in my life, getting to the point of literally touching him, we weren't actually able to record even when we were together, which is very, very bad on our part, if I do say so myself. But I guess that's what happens when you're really tired and you eat a lot.
You ate nothing. You ate virtually nothing and then fell asleep like every fucking night. I have never seen somebody eat so little food. You are...
Well, that's because that amount of food is a lot for me.
You should have eaten more before you could say that you were tired.
Anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, my time in the summer camp. So it was an 8-week affair. The last 7 weeks were when the kids came. The first week was I don't know why I said it like that. So I get up early and I go to Heathrow Airport on Monday the 19th of June. The stuff in the airport's pretty bog standard. I get some food. I get an iced coffee. It was my first time actually being on a plane by myself and traveling to a foreign country by myself. So that was quite exciting. I distinctly remember watching Shazam, the first movie, on the plane, and the Simpsons movie. Did you watch either of those movies a lot?
Shazam?
Shazam and the Simpsons movie.
I saw the Simpsons movie 10 years ago. I don't think I've been bothered to see the Shazam movie.
Can I make one note about the Simpsons movie real quick?
It's dumb.
It's dumb, but it also moves at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. The movie's only about an hour and 25 minutes.
It's called good pacing. Space Jam does the same thing.
Yeah, but I remember having the film on DVD as a kid, and I would always just feel like by the time the movie was only about half an hour in, I remember feeling, oh God, I feel like I've been sitting here for 2 hours.
I haven't seen it recently, but I definitely cannot say the same. It was a film that was there.
I mean, I just thought it'd be funny to watch. Anyway, so I touched down in Newark Airport, which, for those of you who don't know, is the main airport, I want to say, in the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, although it's also really trying to just be an airport in New York City. They don't give a shit about the rest of New Jersey at all.
Newark and New York City are really, really close together, which is really strange.
Also, listening to you say Newark is like... I should start just a running tally of things Emerson thinks he's pronounced correctly, but in fact has not.
Well, what makes something pronounced correctly?
It's called Newark, not Newark.
That's because of my accent. That is how I pronounce it.
You should
Newark.
fix that. You should not sound like, you should not call it Newark. You should just simply be different and call it Newark.
I'm happy with the way I am. So I want to keep this moving, but I basically had to. There were like 2 buses going from the airport to the camp. One that was leaving at about 1 in the afternoon, and one that was leaving at about 5. And I missed the one that was leaving at 1 by about 10 minutes because of baggage claim. So I had to wait 4 hours.
Did they not wait for you
for the next bus? No, they didn't. They didn't know I was coming.
What do you mean they didn't know you were coming? You told them your flight number, right?
Yeah.
Then what? They left
But
you?
I thought. No, okay. The thing is, I had said that I would be on the second bus given my flight time. However, I thought because I got in earlier than anticipated, I thought I could sneak onto the first bus.
Okay. That is...
Which didn't happen. So I waited for the second bus, and I met most of my fellow counsellors while I was waiting. It's always an exciting time meeting new people. So yeah, we finally get on the bus. It's a traditional American school bus, yellow. What surprised me is that there isn't like a compartment to keep bags on the bus. They just all put them at the back.
Because you're not... Okay, a school bus is not an intercity bus. A school bus is designed to be like within 10 miles of its point of origin at any point in its life. The fact that people insist on using them as intercity buses is their own fault. We have intercity buses, as you well know, Emerson. We have.
Oh yes,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We will fucking get there if it kills me. And that's not the first time I said that when talking about buses. But yeah, it meant room was a bit cramped. There were about 20, 25 of us on the second bus. So it's about an hour and 20-minute journey to get to the camp, which the camp is in like eastern Pennsylvania. The Poconos, yeah. Not quite as in the middle of nowhere as you suggested it would be, Joe.
Absolutely is.
But I thought you meant you'd drive... when you said it was in the middle of nowhere, I thought it would be like an hour's drive until you saw civilization.
Okay. That is Wyoming nowhere. For Pennsylvania, you might as well be in the middle of God's own fucking asshole. You are in the Pocono Mountains in a camp full of children. You are as far from civilization as you are permitted to be.
Anyway, so I get to the camp. It's pretty dark. I meet more of my fellow counselors. The main guy, so there's the camp director, and then there's the guy who actually owns the camp. He sort of just wanders around on his golf cart looking at people with his wife and dog. Yeah, the director gives us a talk. Both the director and... What was his name? Oh, the owner give us a talk. And after that, they're just like, they gave us temporary cabins for the, so I was in a cabin with 11 other boys who are my age for the orientation week. So that was a very interesting experience. No privacy whatsoever. I got to explore the camp a bit. If you've ever been to a summer camp in America, for whatever reason, there's a side for the girls and a side for the boys. The girls' side at our camp was bigger because there's usually more girls who attend the camp. But the boys' side was closer to the staff lounge with the Wi-Fi. And I was actually able to get a connection from the Wi-Fi in my cabin for the orientation week. So it wasn't dreadful being in that cabin. Joe, this is where you say something.
Emerson, I don't have anything to add here. I didn't go to summer camp. I don't regularly hang out in rooms in which I am crammed in there with 11 other people. I
will say that this was a single bed, and I don't know how you would have fared on a single bed.
Badly. Okay, for reference, I sleep on a California king at home. I don't do singles.
We'll be getting to your house later, Joe.
Yeah, which, if you want to not make this the length of a regular episode, I feel like you're going to have to accelerate your telling.
So yeah, I will pick up the pace a bit. There were things that happened during the orientation week. We got a full tour of the camp, said where you couldn't go. We had CPR training. A police officer came in to sort of give a talk about Pennsylvania law. I honestly couldn't remember most of it.
How many of you were Americans, if any?
I'd say between no more than 50%, maybe even less.
Ugh. That'll be fun for that cop trying to explain.
Yeah, most of us were from Europe. The majority of people were from the UK, Ireland, Poland, Hungary, and Turkey, and there were a couple of people from Germany.
Fascinating.
We went bowling during the first week. We had karaoke. We went to Walmart, which was surprisingly more exciting than it should sound. And loaded up on snacks because most of us thought it would be the last time we get to have sugar. How wrong we were.
Why did you think it would be the last time you could have sugar?
Because this is what it likes to brand it. This camp I went to likes to brand itself as a healthy habits camp, and it is. It focuses on healthier eating, being more physically active. But it also focuses on trying to break away from technology addiction as well and having better mental health.
This place sounds like hell on earth.
I hope they're not listening.
This is the position of both this podcast and myself, that this camp sounds like hell and no one should subject children to it. It's not our fault that technology has decided that we all will have the attention spans of about 3 minutes. So why not just keep going with it? Don't take kids' phones away from them. The end. Continue your next point.
Okay, so the night before the kids start coming, we move into the actual cabins where we'll be spending the rest of the summer. And I was put in a cabin right next to the boys' field house, which was great because we didn't have to walk far to get mail or anything like that. Fun fact is the head of the boys' side and the head of the girls' side are actually married in real life, which I think is really cute. This is the part where you say something, Joe.
I don't have anything else to say. Also, I have work emails to send. So I am trying not...
You're recording with me.
I am recording with you, and I am also typing. So I am trying to multitask. Because you had a job. I have a job. I'm going to say this. I'm so glad you were in America and not able to record, because for all of July, I was working like 50 hours a week, if not 60, and I definitely did not have time to record or do anything, and barely had enough time to like shower and like eat. So,
well, thank goodness we didn't record, and thank goodness I came when I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so the kids start arriving the next day. I am put with the group of... So each age bracket has like a name. So I was with the cadets, which was boys between the ages of 9 and 12. It was a lot of fun. Very stressful at the beginning because most of them had homesickness. One of them had been like coming to the camp for about 4 or 5 years. So he knew basically everyone. Except the foreign people, mostly. And he was in my cabin. It was cool. We started out with 4 boys in the cabin. We had issues with homesickness the first night, as you do. A couple of the boys cried. Me and my co-counselor within the bunk had to sort of soothe their feelings. But they got into it really quickly after we spent the day doing some activities. They slowly began to forget about it. And yeah, we settled in quite nicely. Now, my camp has a lot of traditions. They have what's called MTV nights. There's something called Song and Cheer night. They do a 5K at the end of the summer, and they have what's called the Blue versus Gold Games. In case you can't tell, I'm really tired because it is nearly 11 o'clock in the evening where I am.
I didn't get out of work until 4:48, which was early, but also I came into work at 8 in the morning. I would have been home like an hour before, but hand to God, as I was leaving work, a pair of stray dogs ran across the parking lot, and I had to wait for animal control for like 45 minutes. So you'll forgive me if I didn't get home.
I know that's not Joe's first experience with animals and cars.
Yeah, oh my God. You still are on about that? We'll get to that, but whatever. Jesus Christ. I forgot about that already.
So now, because I realize that I'm more tired than I thought, I'm not going to be able to give the full extent of everything that happened. But I'll give the bits that I can remember the most. So during first week, I think it was, the kids got the option to go roller skating. Now, the counselors were split into 2 groups, Group A and Group B. And basically if you were one night they would alternate nights off, the groups. So if you were on a night off, the night of an evening activity, you got to go to the evening activity if the kids went out. So, but because I didn't go roller skating because I was on duty and had to stay at the camp and watch the kids who didn't go, and I was extremely glad I did, because when the kids started coming back, about half of them had to go to the nurse with some sort of injury. And one of the kids in my cabin had fallen on his tailbone and was struggling to walk properly. He was able to quite literally walk it off pretty fast. Sorry?
What did they do that they all hurt themselves?
They were roller skating. And these are small children who have no sense of balance.
Okay. I suppose, I don't roller skate. I don't do anything like that.
I gathered, no offense.
Okay, you. Listen. Listen here.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Uncle Joe.
No. What about that? What about that?
What about what?
Nothing. Just keep going. Just keep going. I'll figure out a cutting retort when I don't have emails to send.
I think the moment will be gone. So that's something I remember from the first week. I also we had s'mores at the end of the first week. Yeah. Not much happened during the first week. It was sort of just us getting to know the vibe. We started activities. That was a lot of fun. It was lovely to be out in the sun, and I learned things about America that I didn't know before. I knew that Americans are obsessed with flying their flag at every possible point. But every day we had to wake up at like 8 o'clock and stand by the flagpole and then go to breakfast. And the American kids would say the Pledge of Allegiance and what have you. And it was very awkward for the non-Americans to just stand there looking wherever, and while everyone just cited the Pledge of Allegiance word for word.
Just become American citizens, no big deal.
So what else happened? Most of the because there were two cadet cabins, and they sort of fluctuated by how many people they had in them. But there were a lot of the cadets were just not comfortable doing certain things. So like we had the first MTV night, as I mentioned before, and our theme was Minions. I don't know who decided it, but I think we had to go. We basically chose songs that are associated with the Despicable Me movies, or have appeared in the Despicable Me movies. There were 9 cadets at the time of this first one. Only 5 of them actually went on stage. The other 4 were just. One of them couldn't dance because it was against his religion. One of them was the guy whose tailbone was still hurting.
What was he? What was he? Hold on. The no religion people, are those Jehovah's Witnesses?
What do you mean, no religion people?
No, the no dancing people. The no dancing people. Those are like the Jehovah's or something, aren't they?
I think he was Muslim.
What? Is that a thing? Is that a thing?
Well, something related to this type of dancing he couldn't do because it went against his religion.
I've never heard of that. If you're a religion, please do write in and tell us.
Oh yeah, we'll ask Christianity and Judaism the religions rather than people who actually follow them.
Can we get a religious correspondent in here? Somebody please tell me what that kid was on about.
Another one was the kid whose tailbone was still not great, although he seemed to be walking fine. And the other 2 just didn't want to do it. It was horrendous how defiant they were to not do it. But they did the little dance. Because they were supposed to be minions, we got them all in like yellow. We found as many pair of swimming goggles and glasses as we could and put them on the kids. It was just a fun little dance. And then we saw everyone else and thought, oh, we've completely missed the point here. Because so many other people had like props and stuff and better costumes. And we just sort of had the kids running around in a circle. And it was kind of embarrassing.
Skill issue. Simply be better.
That's Joe's reasoning for everything.
I mean, you met my family. Skill issue. Be better.
Stop it.
No. No, don't do the voice.
I remember that, really.
Don't do the voice. The
Why
voice
not?
is not good. It's really not.
I think the voice is good. Anyway,
I don't. But anyways.
So we had new kids come in every 2 weeks, and some kids would be leaving at the end of 2 weeks. With every time a new kid came in, we had one kid who was always getting in trouble. No matter how many times we reported him. Sorry?
As one does.
I thought you said something else for a second. Jesus Christ.
As one does, it happens.
Because we're on Discord, it like cuts off the first word or letter. First letter of everything you say.
That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, but hey ho, we move. I'm laughing because I'm so tired.
We'll go quickly then.
I was exaggerating when I said this would be the full story. This is just sort of some stuff that happened in no particular order. But yeah, we would tell the head of boys' side if anyone was causing trouble, and he did his best to sort of keep them in check, and it worked. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Just because these kids are sometimes they just can't really follow instructions, and it's difficult. there was a big lake at the camp, and there was also a zip line, and what was called, I guess it was like a shortened aerial. There was an aerial ropes course in the forest, and what they called the Odyssey course, where it was another aerial course but shorter and literally more straightforward. Some of the kids did that. I really wanted to do it, but some of the kids took way too long to get up. We had to cut it short sometimes because we had a massive issue with people wearing Crocs way too often for like the physical activities. And we had to start as a camp enforcing more rules to like, if you wear Crocs, you can't do physical activity.
Oh, because kids were like falling over onto themselves?
Yeah, not really, but it's just an impractical piece of footwear.
Emerson, what shoes did you wear the entire time you were at my house?
I wore Crocs, but that's because I wasn't doing any physical activity in them. I was not doing any physical activity in my Crocs.
Okay.
I've got you there.
What?
So where to next? What happened next on my adventure? I really wanted to do both the zip lining and the Odyssey course. I couldn't do the Odyssey course because of the time constraints thing, and I didn't want to do the zip line because I've got fear of them after stopping halfway on one, and I was like 30 feet above solid ground.
Okay.
I love how there's just this dead silence where it's like,
how did you get stuck?
Are you aware of Go Ape? It's this chain of like aerial obstacle courses all over Britain. And I was just ziplining from one point to the other, and I just got stuck. I don't know whether it was I was too, you're going to laugh at this, whether I was too heavy for the zipline or what, but
that can happen. You can get stuck on them if it's built wrong, but if
it's built wrong. Yes, so that was a shame. I wish I'd done that. There was something I forgot to mention. When the kids, the evening the kids first arrived, we did a welcome show where as counselors we showed off like a bunch of our skills. Most people did dancing. Some people did singing. There was this one girl who was an incredible musical theatre singer. Like the night we did karaoke, she went first and she sang Defying Gravity amazingly, and everyone else was just too scared to follow it up.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
She sang a song from Frozen. It wasn't quite as grandiose, but it was still good. But it was a more chilled song, and it wasn't Let It Go either. But I did like a quiz show sketch with a couple of my friends who I'd made during the week. That was pretty funny. One thing I remember two things vividly about the sketch. There were like two of the contestants were like these two Valley Girl stereotypes, and they just said their names were Zoe and Chloe, and I just said wonderful before moving on to the next person. But the funny of it was when like the winning team was like these two guys who they're like undercover secret agents who wouldn't say anything unless until the very end, in which they won the whole thing, as you know how like that comedy trope sort of works. And when he asked what they was going to spend all the money on, one of the guys took off the pair of sunglasses he was wearing to reveal another pair of sunglasses underneath, which was a funny gag. It was a very, very good gag. And he just said, "We're going to give all the money to the name of the camp that we were at," and everyone just like. You just sort of like I've just sort of broke into applause as the host, and that was the end of the sketch. And also the camp had this I'm jumping all over the place. The camp had this very weird obsession with taking pre-existing songs and changing the lyrics to them whilst having the original song playing in the background. So at the end of this welcome show, for example, every one of the counselors, we didn't have to memorize it, thank God. But we had like the camp had taken the song Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon, and the lyrics had been changed to reflect the camp. And we just sort of awkwardly sung along to it. And
that is the thing a lot of places do. That is not uncommon.
Weirdly, really never crossed my mind as something that existed before. So
I bet
finally
you they
get
don't
back
do
on
it
track.
in England.
Oh, certainly not.
I bet you that's not an England thing.
It's not an England thing. But yeah, we started having nights out, or nights off, sorry, and days off that week. Sorry, I just bumped my microphone. I remember we went to this little ice cream place called Gables, about a 10-minute drive away, and it was, oh God, it was so good. I love little independent ice cream places, and I always had the same thing from there. I had a chocolate vanilla twist with sprinkles, chocolate sauce, cookie dough, Oreos, and brownie bits, and it was delicious.
You always had the same thing and never once deviated to try anything else.
No, because I'm not a picky eater, but I like to eat things that I'm more comfortable liking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes 2 nights a week, the buses just would take us to this ice cream place. Then they'd take us to Walmart or something adjacent like that. Is it weird that I preferred Walmart to Target while I was in America?
Oh. Hello? No, I'm thinking. I'm trying to not be insultingly classist.
Oh, don't worry. It's I could tell it. I could tell there was a big class divide between the two of them.
Yeah.
Any hoozles. Yeah, nothing. Actually, let me fast forward a few weeks. So some of the kids are gone and new ones have come in. There's now about...
You've recycled the children.
Yeah, pretty much. Couple of new ones came in. We had a nice gang. I think we had about 6 kids in my cabin now. So that was good. I remember having quizzes with the kids, and it was at this point that I started reading Harry Potter to them before we went to bed, because Americans love nothing more than a British person reading Harry Potter to them.
Everybody loves the fucking accent.
Oh, they do, trust me. It was around this time that I went on the only day trip where I went outdoors. And it was to whitewater rafting. Honestly, might have been the single worst day of my trip when I went. Because another kid had come in. There was this one, really hyperactive kid, and he left only to be replaced immediately by another hyperactive kid. And this kid was the massive control freak. And he was just... It was very difficult to just get a hold of him. When we were all rowing together, he was just constantly trying to take over the reins, and just we couldn't keep going straight at all. It was a literal nightmare, and I'd never been more relieved that something was over in my life than that moment. I couldn't. I don't have any
kid out. Getting rid of this kid?
Oh no, just getting off the water so I didn't have to deal with him anymore.
Should have drowned him. Oh wait, that's illegal.
I couldn't have done that.
Don't drown him.
Another thing that happened during this time was the song and cheer thing that I mentioned. And what that was is, so you know how I mentioned before that we took a pre-existing song and changed the lyrics? Well, song and cheer is essentially that. You have to do it with an upbeat song that's really fun and exciting, and you have to do it with a slow and somber song. One's about enjoying your time at camp and the fun you can have, and the other's feeling sad about leaving camp, pretty much. And so we wrote, the counselors, we wrote both these songs. I co-wrote the upbeat one, And so the songs we chose were California Girls and Sign of the Times. And I had the brilliant idea during California Girls. People like it when their names are in songs. So I thought, why not do like a roll call within the song, you know, where everyone's name is said and they get to do like a funny little dance when their name is said, sort of thing. Originally, the cadets leader, who was a fellow counselor, he was not sure about it and wanted it scrapped, but we kept it for the final thing, and it ended up being the most popular part of the song that people like literally sang for the rest of the trip, which was great. But the even greater thing was there was this one kid who, to start with, he was making some very, very serious threats if we put him in the show, in the song, right?
Were the threats acted upon?
I'm sorry?
Were the threats acted upon?
No, they weren't. But he said he didn't want to do it. He was dead set on not doing it, and it was a shame because we want to encourage these kids to do stuff like this as much as possible. Then, literally 5 minutes before showtime, some fucking switch clicks inside his head, and he's just like, I want to do it. None of us could explain it, but we're just like, sure, go on. And so, yeah, he did. Not only did he do the show and do it to the best of his abilities, he was a lot more confident and outgoing for the rest of his time at camp. Like we did a little campfire talent show a few days later, and he and some of the guys in the cabin did this really stupid skit. I had no idea what the hell was going on, but he was having the time of his life doing it, and I was really impressed with him.
Good for him. Yeah,
it just goes to show how camp can bring out new sides of some people. Also, this same kid, he was playing tetherball and he injured his finger, so he had to go to the hospital to get a support thing put on it. And I remember reading to him while he was waiting to go. I love reading to people. I just think it makes them feel so much better.
Okay. Emerson, if you don't stop yawning, you're going to make me tired.
I will say, though, if you're one of those people who listens to our podcast to help you to fall asleep, this is the episode for you.
Who would listen to us to fall asleep? Who would listen to us to fall asleep? Do I need to start playing fucking klaxons in the middle of the episode?
Like the dank meme air horn. You know that sound?
No, I'll find an actual air horn recording and I'll play it. I'll just get an air horn.
No, what you should do is get Jess Knappett mimicking the air horn and play it.
No.
No.
Oh, Jesus fuck. Okay, now I'm yawning. Okay, either wake up or speed it up. I'm not falling asleep at 6:07 p.m.
Well, I might fall asleep at 11:07 p.m. Some kids leave, more kids come in for the final 3 weeks. Oh fuck. I'm jumping all over the place here. What I'll do? I will cut to we did another MTV night, and this time the theme was like the years certain older members of the staff were born. So we were given 1992, the year the assistant head of boys staff was born, and we chose the songs "Jump Around" by House of Pain, "Achy Breaky Heart" by Billy Ray Cyrus, and "Friday I'm in Love" by The Cure. And Friday I'm in Love might have been my favorite thing I've done this whole time, because I choreographed that segment of the song. And I also made signs with the days of the week on them that the kids could interact with during the song. So, because I knew this time we needed to up our prop game, so to speak. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. And there's a really great picture of us. Because we all came together as like all the cadets and the cadet counselors who were there at the time would get up on stage to have a picture after we'd all performed. And it was just great seeing some of the kids hold the signs up and being really happy about it. And but the last like week of camp was when things started getting proper serious, because we had the 5K, which was a really difficult because the camp we were at was so hilly, and a 5K is, if you're not used to the metric system, it's just over 3 miles. So 3 miles running up and downhill is not easy. And also people would dress up in silly costumes to do it. I dressed up as a cheerleader, and it was honestly some of the most fun I've ever had. Because, as you know me, I like to...
Did you have to do the 5K?
Unless you had a very, very good reason not to.
Does I don't wanna count?
No.
This camp sucks.
Well, you never have to go there. But yeah, I ran the 5K. I ran the 5K, and I did so with my cheerleading pom-poms in my hand the whole time. Nearly died, but I didn't die. And then
nearly
we ended
dying
with what was,
is something that happens a lot, I feel.
It nearly happens to me especially. Then we had the blue versus gold games, and this was extremely unfortunate because there was supposed to be like this. Well, there were like regular monsoons at the camp. I remember there was monsoons.
That's called
the day
rain,
the kids.
Emerson.
Yeah, but this was like proper hard rain. Like we're talking
just rain. It's just
England,
raining.
We're talking England in January levels of rain. There was
That's
one
called
the day
rain.
Shut up, Mr. Ohio.
We have monsoons, which they're not technically monsoons. That's just
there was
rain.
a storm warning. But we'll get to that. It rained a lot on very important days by complete coincidence while we were at camp. So a lot of the activities that we would have done for the blue versus gold games got rained out. Like there was going to be an athletics day. There was this thing that I was looking really forward to called rope burn, where we had to build a fire as tall as possible to burn a rope, literally. But we couldn't do that because we got rained out, which sucks. So we stuck mostly to indoor things. And the final day of I don't remember. The final day of the blue versus gold games, people... we had to do song and cheer again, this time themed around the games, and my team lost, which is a shame. But it didn't matter, because it was a very emotional moment at that time. And then that was it. Of course, I've missed a lot of stuff out, but I'm really tired, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to talk. So... yeah, we go to Newark Airport. I meet up with my dad, and we go traveling a bit. We check into a hotel in New York City, see the city. I went to I stayed mostly in Manhattan. You've been to New York, have you, Joe?
I have.
Do you like the city?
I don't dislike it. It's certainly not my preferred place to be.
Okay, fair enough.
Why?
I enjoyed the city. I enjoyed going out. I enjoyed seeing Times Square. I went to Central Park. I went up Rockefeller Center. Yeah, I had a lot of Dunkin' Donuts while I was in America because I fell in love with it. And I was very sad because
I have so many questions. Why Dunkin' Donuts? What did you get what did you get possessed by Massachusetts?
Pretty much, yes.
Just...
yeah, my regular Dunkin' order was the large frozen chocolate, which was about 900 calories.
And I offered to take you to Dunkin' several times, and you repeatedly refused. So I don't know if this love is truly as deep as you say it is.
Well, I just sort of wanted to cut it out of my system in a way, But having said that, I've now
you're
found...
You're going to England, man. There isn't any there.
That's what I thought.
Is there one in England?
There's several. And there's one in probably the most perfect location in London for it. On Baker Street.
Perfect. What is it? At like 222 instead of 221B?
I've not been yet, but I'm aware of its existence. Also, Popeye's Chicken has quite literally started popping up in places.
Why?
I don't know, but do you know what also is making a come over to the UK? Little Caesars.
Oh, good. It'll give Pizza Express some competition.
Is Little Caesars good in America?
No. Little Caesars' whole shtick is the pizza is $5, and the pizza is $5. No, it's not $5. Fuck, how much is a Little Caesars? The pizza is there. The pizza, you come in, and the pizza is waiting there because they make them in advance. That is the entire thing of Little Caesars. It is cheap, and it is ready immediately. They make no promises on quality because you are ordering Little Caesars. You presumably know.
There's only one location in Derbyshire, so I've not tried it yet.
What a bizarre place to put a Little Caesars in the middle of fucking Derbyshire.
Also, I was surprisingly impressed with the New York subway.
As opposed to what?
I wasn't sure what I was expecting from it, but it was better than I thought it was. I wish they could be a bit more creative with the names of their lines, but I guess you can't have everything.
What do you create as opposed to what?
They're literally called line A, B, C, D, etc.
Okay, so first of all, it's not line A, it's not line anything. It's the 1 train, the 2 train, the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the A through, and then there's like A through Z with various letters missing. There's no line anything. It's the A, the Z, the Q, the 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. There's a difference, and it's there. And second of all, that is a lot better than the stuff in England. You know, with the fucking London Underground, where the fuck does the Victoria line go? That doesn't mean anything. The district line in the district of what? You know, the Hammersmith and City. Isn't it all within a city? Does it go to Hammersmith?
It does go to Hammersmith.
Where's the city? It's all in London. It's all in a city. You know, these are all important questions that I have.
Well, the Bakerloo line is named as such.
What the fuck is a Bakerloo?
It's a combination of Baker Street and Waterloo, which are both on the line.
Oh, bullshit.
The Piccadilly line... What?
Bullshit. No portmanteaus on the subway line name. You know, it's like there is nothing wrong with the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or you could go with colors like they do in DC. You could have the silver, the red, the brown, the green, and the yellow, and the blue. These are all good names.
Oh, well. I'll say the New York subway's pretty good. The Boston subway sucked.
Okay,
hard.
So for reference, Emerson went on the MTBA, which is the Metropolitan Bay or Metropolitan Boston Transit Agency, and they are currently being heavily investigated by the Federal Transit Administration, among others, for being actively terrible. These people are like getting federally taken over because they're in danger of like killing people with their ineptitude. So
New York was great. We did a lot of walking, saw a lot of really nice places. Then we got an Amtrak train from New York to New Haven, Connecticut, which was delayed by 2 hours because of a faulty engine.
Locomotive. And that happens not often, I'll admit.
We get to New Haven, get a taxi to our hotel. It's a nice let
When I think of tourist destinations in the Northeast corridor of the United States, New Haven, Connecticut is so beneath, like, a list of places that I would think of.
We were just stopping there for overnight.
Why?
I don't know, because we had
You
to...
You were on the train. Just keep going to Boston.
I don't know. It was my dad who planned the whole thing.
Oh my God.
But honestly, at that point, I was just so sick of the train anyway.
I've never heard of taking a train trip where you had to stop and rest. That's very interesting.
But we went to... We need to what?
Interrogate your father on this. Although, have you considered, Emerson, that you are just cursed? Because all of these things that have happened to you and then, like, followed you about. I very rarely experience these issues.
All right, don't rub it in. So we stay the night in New Haven, have some pizza because it's apparently known for that. Get the hire car and go to Cape Cod via Providence. And I realized the state of Rhode Island is so small that Providence is makes up 40% of its land.
Yeah.
It's like the city. I can't think of another state where it's just one city is just the city.
I mean, North Dakota could probably make a case for that, or maybe... No, South Dakota's got 2. But...
I can think of countries that are like that.
Yeah.
Cape Cod. I wasn't sure what I was expecting from Cape Cod, but it wasn't what I got. Lovely place, of course, but I was expecting it to be more... Basically, I wasn't expecting there to be a Simon's outlet and a shopping mall on the peninsula. I was sort of expecting all of the fancy stuff is inland. Well, I said the fancy stuff. The social stuff is inland, and then out in Cape Cod is just sort of little tourist huts, beach huts, and fishing boats, etc. Very wrong.
God bless America, my home, sweet home. It's there is always an outlet store everywhere you look.
Oh, yeah, there was one in Pennsylvania, near the camp. This was the second one I came across, and I was just wow, this is a chain?
Yeah, there's ones all over the place.
Yeah, because you told me outlets are very easy to set up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we stay in Cape Cod. We get separate rooms at the hotel, which is nice. Go out to take a look at the... Sorry. We weren't right on the waterfront, which was a bit... And when I say right on the waterfront, we were literally right in the center of the peninsula. So we couldn't have been any further from water on either side. So it was the peninsula's not very thick, thankfully, but it was still a 10-minute drive to get to the main street that was close to the water.
I am very unfamiliar with how Cape Cod is laid out, so you're going to have to just pretend I know what you're talking about.
So explore Cape Cod. The high street was, the main street, I should say, really nice. We even went to, get this, Nantucket. And if you know us, you know that we love the island of Nantucket. Well, the island of Nantucket, don't we, Joe?
We do. In fact, there's a man from Nantucket who's... Yeah, and you know the rest.
You do know. Check out Series 6, Episode 3. It's literally in the title. But Nantucket would have been nice if it wasn't pissing it down with rain the day we went. We literally picked the worst time weather-wise to go to Cape Cod because it rained the 3 days we were there.
You picked the worst weather time to go literally everywhere, and I don't know how you managed this. It followed you. It followed you across the country.
Maybe American weather hates me. But thankfully, though, Boston had nicer weather. So we leave Cape Cod, travel about an hour and a bit to Boston. Boston might be my favorite American city that I've been to so far, except maybe for Seattle. Because there's something very European-ish about Boston. I think it's the fact that it's not designed like a grid. The streets just flow more naturally, which I really like.
It's awful to get around.
Well, it's a great walking city.
Don't walk. Why would you do that to yourself?
Because I'm British and I like walking. Sure. I went on a 5-6 mile walk today.
You know, there's something wrong with you.
And what would that be?
Oh, so many things. Continue.
Can you tell we want to just go to bed?
You told me this would be like 20 minutes, and we are just past an hour.
I never said it would be 20 minutes. I never said that.
What did you say? Maybe I imagined that. Maybe I hoped against wishful thinking.
Oh, well, at least it makes for a fun title and play off of. So yeah, we go to Boston. Boston's a great city. Did a lot of walking tours and went to Emerson College to have a look. I was very, very upset that they didn't offer discounts on their products to people called Emerson. I think Emerson College should look into that. Yeah, we did a lot of walking tours. There was this really, what was his name? Benjamin something.
Ben
Franklin? He was playing. He was playing. It was an actor, and he was playing Benjamin something. He knew. Oh God. John. There was a guy called Benjamin something who knew John Hancock or whatever his name was.
What?
But
it's a figure from the American Revolution. You don't need to know who they are. They won. You lost.
All right. I don't. Actually, I do rub my victories in with you because they're few and far between.
As just like England.
Well, no, everything's pretty close in England. You're never 20 minutes away from civilization.
Keep going.
So yeah, we have a couple of tours. Enjoy Boston. Do a lot of walking in Boston. And then it's time for my dad to go. And for me to get... By the way, we've gone back to New York City first. Via New Haven. Because my dad left some clothes in the hotel room from when we stayed there. But we make it back to New York. My dad leaves to go home. And I get ready to get on a Greyhound bus.
I would like to point out that I advised you heavily to not do that.
Well, what would the alternative have been?
Airplanes, trains, walking.
Walking 800 miles across one state.
Your experience with Greyhound shows me that it would have been better, and it almost would have happened anyways. Certainly would have been faster getting out of Manhattan.
Getting to the Greyhound bus station was a nightmare in itself. Like I had to wait about half an hour, 40 minutes for the right bus because I was looking at my map app and it all gave like bus times like 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. None of them were actually going to the right place. That would have cost so much more money that I was not prepared to pay. I mean, I got there eventually, and once I was actually on the bus, it was pretty smooth sailing. And I get to the Greyhound bus station pretty early. My coach is not until 11:30 at night. So I get some food. I make camp. I connect to the Wi-Fi, and I start watching stuff on Disney Plus to keep myself entertained. And I finally get on the bus. Probably the most uncomfortable bus journey I've ever had in my whole life. Because unlike
for
British
reference,
buses...
when he said smooth sailing, It was smooth because you didn't move. He texted me at 1 o'clock in the morning saying that he hadn't left Manhattan yet, which for those of you who know, and for those of you who don't, the Port Authority bus terminal where Greyhound leaves from has a tunnel directly into the tunnel that goes out of Manhattan. So it took him 3 hours to go a mile.
Yes, pretty much, which meant that I missed my transfer at Pittsburgh.
And I'd also like to remind you that your original transfer in Pittsburgh would have gotten you to Sandusky, which is near where I live, but also the bus would have dropped you off at the Amtrak station. You could have taken the train.
Where, at Sandusky?
Yeah, that's the Amtrak station. You could have taken the train directly to Sandusky.
Well, I think after my experience with Amtrak, I wasn't really prepared to do it again. I don't think Greyhound was any better, but I'll tell you what, it makes for... Hey, Joe. One thing Amtrak can't... my experience with Amtrak won't change is the fact that I have a fun story to tell, okay?
Aight, that's one way of looking at it.
So, I have to... Because Greyhound is such an awful company, I couldn't get a refund for my ticket, and instead had to purchase a new ticket. Thankfully, this new ticket wasn't super expensive, but it was still a pain in the arse.
You could have gotten a refund if you'd just been bothered to call them.
I did call them, and they were literally just like, sorry, we can't take your call right now.
Well, you should have called them back.
I did. I called them about 10 times.
Well, that's your experience with riding Greyhound. Never ride Greyhound, folks. Like yourself better. Or just don't travel. Walking's easier. And less smelly.
Okay, the Greyhound experience was literally one of the worst in my life. I got on the bus at Port Authority, and the weirdest motherfucker ever sat next to me. He had this, like, top hat with a feather and a walking stick. He had about 3 bottles of Gatorade hanging onto his backpack. He asked me a bunch of questions
I'm sure those... What color Gatorade?
There was a green one and a red one.
Okay, they still contained Gatorade then. Okay.
But he started asking me a bunch of strange as hell questions, like, I didn't know these buses had seatbelts. Since when did they have seatbelts? And I just couldn't give him an answer because I didn't know. And then at one point he offered me he showed me this, like, round flask thing that you look like you might keep a potion in like some sort of wizard movie. And it just says, you want some vodka? And I just couldn't give a... Well, I said no thank you, politely. But what I actually wanted to say was, fuck off, go sit somewhere else. I didn't say that, of course, but I would have if I could.
Okay.
I was actually really trying to not fall asleep because I thought this guy would, like, steal something from me. Also, he was wearing, like, this flowery butterfly woman's crop top under his long trench coat, which was a very strange combo.
You know what that person is, Emerson? An ad for Amtrak. Or for United Airlines. Or American Airlines. Or Southwest. Or Delta. Or anything else.
So anyway, I get my new bus from Pittsburgh to Cleveland, and that is when I met this guy.
Yeah, which, just to clue you guys in on why I'm saying that Emerson brought the bad weather with him, I had just been on vacation for like a week and a half. At this point, I was on vacation. I took a driving vacation because some friends were getting married out in North Carolina, and I had last seen rain like the week before, and I had been informed that it had rained like one day back home. I leave to pick Emerson up, and I am looking at the sky as I'm driving, because he didn't manage to get the bus to Sandusky. He got the bus into Cleveland, and I had to go pick him up from the Cleveland bus station, and I'm just looking at the sky above going, that's not good. And as I got closer and closer to Cleveland, that's not good became, oh, I'm in danger. And I very rarely think that I am going to actually have a car accident. I almost had a car accident several times just on the way up there from the conditions that were becoming apparent as the sky just opened up. So that I blame him for that. But then I picked him up.
British people bring British weather with them, I suppose.
You should aspire to not have that happen to you.
Also, Joe, did you clean your car? Did you clean your car?
Yeah, I did.
Thank goodness for that.
That was clean when I got to you.
I'm sorry?
My car, I cleaned out a lot of the garbage from my road trip before I went and picked you up. The fact that you think that clean is like some,
okay, I think we need to stop using
goal.
So I met Joe, and where did we go, Joe?
I took him out to eat because I had assumed that he would be hungry, which is a mistake that I made every day of his visit. But we went to Cheesecake Factory, where he proceeded to have no cheesecake.
Well, it was like a day's worth of calories for one piece of cheesecake.
It's Cheesecake Factory. That's the point.
Oh God, Joe was baffled by how little I ate.
You ate nothing, and then were exhausted by it.
Well, I was just really exhausted in general by that point.
No, like every day you were exhausted by it, by the strenuous task of eating nothing.
Oh, when we got to the county fair, that was an experience. Anyway, so I get to, after the Cheesecake Factory, we go to Joe's house. And Joe's house is like no house I've ever seen before.
Uh-huh. Explain to the nice people the ways that Joe's house is. I saw his face. It was shell shock.
Okay, so let me put something into perspective, right? Joe's mum and dad have 4 kids, including Joe himself. And I'm still not entirely sure what your parents do for work, but how they managed to
everything. They do a lot.
Well,
Dad's a doctor.
Maybe it has something to do with like, I don't know if your younger brother does work. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't do work. But
Tony really doesn't.
Your other 2 brothers all work. Basically, these people have a house already that is at least twice the size of my usual house. They're having renovations done on it to make it twice as big as it already is. These guys have got 2 pools, one indoor, one outdoor.
We bought the house next door and added and merged the 2 houses. Oh, and we put the pool there. Yeah, that's why it's bigger.
So Joe's family owns 5 houses within 500 meters of each other.
We have like 15 acres.
Oh God. Yeah, we
bought at the start. We bought several properties that were next to each other, that were next to ours, and then right as the pandemic happened, we bought 2 more, and so we have a large tract of land.
I remember looking at it out of an upstairs window. Your mum saying to me, "This
everything.
Is all we all own this," and I was just staring out. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, I was not faking any of my reactions. You took a what?
We took you on the tour, and his face he just got increasingly shell shocked as the day went on.
Your mum is making a haunted house, a full-on haunted house.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the places she bought was the former county orphanage that's now an empty building. So what else are you going to do with it, really? It's
make it into a haunted house, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got another house which they're turning into like a guest house. Can I just say we drove around on a golf cart, by the way.
Yeah. Golf cart came with the house. With that house.
And
I am aware that this is all abnormal, but also shut the fuck up. You live in England. Everything's the size of a postage stamp.
That's true. That is true. Why do you think I was so absolutely amazed at... Well, basically the moral of the story is make friends on the internet, and because you never know what might happen.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the tour lasted what? 2 hours?
It was only 45 minutes. It just seemed longer than that to you.
And the best part was when your mum said you're welcome to come and stay with us next year, which I am almost certainly going to do.
We'll have to find a time.
Why, are you going to be working hard again next year?
Well, no, we'll have to find the time that works for you, because you'll presumably have a job, unless
I'm trying desperately to find a job. But yeah, it's just like it's not often people have just. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to take advantage. I mean, I might, but it's not often that you just got people who could say to you, "Yeah, this fucking mess off dynasty that we own, you can come visit it anytime you want, pretty much."
Compound is the word we like to use for it.
Compound. Well, to me, to my family, that would be like an estate, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we went out to dinner that night.
We went to Longhorn Steakhouse.
I was really starting to get into white wine as I went to see Joe, so I would have like a glass of white wine as often as I could.
I am going to give you shit for that at a later point in this, although I would also like to point out that it is 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I figure you're starting to get tired. I do have a small amount of other plans for today, so let's...
Well, what else did we do, Joe? Oh, I remember your mum saying you can help yourself to anything in the fridge, and I was just like, oh, God, no, I can't do that.
Okay. Oh, my God. Yeah, Emerson thinks that he'll like, oh, no, I'll eat their food, as food literally tumbles out of the refrigerator and lands on my foot, among many other things. This, he thinks that, like, his bird-like eating habits are normal amongst the human species, and they are not. And so, oh God, what else did we do? The next day, oh yeah, so the day that he gets here, was it the day you got here? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I
was exhausted, by the way.
Yeah, so
it rained
of course,
in the morning,
here's
but by the time I got to your house, it was nice. We went out for dinner, and there was a fucking hurricane warning.
It was not a hurricane warning. That was for Emerson. This was fun because, as I've said, it hadn't rained in a couple of weeks. Basically, Emerson shows up to my house, and we have the worst storm, and I'm going to say 5 years in this part of the state. There were multiple tornado touchdowns elsewhere in the county, and we had the first tornado warning that was actual in probably 5 years, 10 years. The tornado sirens came on, and we were going into the basement, and it occurred to me about halfway through, Emerson has no fucking idea what this means. And so we actually had to go get him and herd him into the basement. And I'm just sitting there going like, he's going to think this is normal. Which, by the way, it's not. It's not.
I didn't think this was normal. I thought I was going to die.
I mean, we're very fortunate to be out of the main pathways of storm cells in this part of the state. Like, if we were in Kansas, that would be a real threat. But actually, it would not be.
I kept making references to Kansas, didn't I?
Yeah, But oh god, what did we? So that was fun. The next day, we had fun. No, we had a fun miscommunication. The first thing, which is that Emerson, we were going to get up early and do stuff, and Emerson texts me. You know, he's in the guest bedroom, which is literally 10 feet from my bedroom, and so he messages me on Instagram and says, I'm going to sleep in a little bit because I think my alarm for work went off in the morning because I forgot to turn it off. And I'm like, okay, cool. I go back to sleep and I wake up at 2 p.m. His idea of sleeping in is he's going to sleep in until 10:30. No, earlier than that, like 9:30 or 10. So there's a bit of that. Or I got up at noon or whatever, but there's a clear difference. And then we tried to go out, but because it was late and because there had been, and I cannot stress this enough, an absolutely apocalyptic storm. Multiple places were flooded that we tried to go to.
We tried to go to this golf course that was
this mini golf. There's a mini golf course with a go-kart track, and they were flooded. We tried to go to Cedar Point, but they were having flooding issues. We went out.
We'll get to Cedar Point, both literally and figuratively.
We went out for ice cream, and half the roads to the ice cream place were frozen. Which we eventually got.
Me shit.
Oh, I will.
Joe
still
gave me
give
shit
you
for my ice cream order.
Yes, I still will, because we went to a place that is specifically known for their hard serve, hand scooped ice cream, and this motherfucker gets soft serve, which I didn't even know they had soft serve. This place doesn't do soft serve. They have like a machine in the corner, in the back, in a place of shame, where they will occasionally produce some lackluster vanilla. And I'm over here getting like, you know, the stuff that people will drive from across the county for. And he's over there going, can I? And I'm like, which one do you want? Because there's 37 flavors. This isn't, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to have this. And it's like a bowl of vanilla that you could get at a gas station. And I wanted to strangle him. You really needed to expand your horizons.
I've got a basic palate, all right? When I find
Stop
something
being
I like,
basic. Stop
I'm
it.
a basic what? Basic. Do you want me to say it again?
No, stop being like that.
Stop it.
Stop being like that.
That was a theme of a lot of what me and Joe did. Him telling me to stop it.
Stop being the way that you are and be different. This isn't difficult. You're on vacation. Anyways, did we go out for dinner? No, I don't think we did. I think we had food at home or something like that. What did we do after we got ice cream?
We went bowling.
We went bowling. That's right. My arm hurt for like 2 days.
And I simultaneously learned so much and nothing.
You have the worst bowling form I have ever seen. And it irritated me that you were able to hit any pins.
I surprised myself, if I'm being totally honest.
And then, of course, I'm over here getting, I wish I had this on film. We have literally just sat down at the bowling alley, and Emerson bowls his first frame, and I bowl my first frame. It doesn't go great. Then I get a phone call from somebody, and I just am like, I'm going to answer the phone and not interrupt bowling. And with mid phone call, bowl a strike. Like, without even thinking about it. Like, I actually developed a strat of holding my phone to my ear, and that was my phone call.
Also, Joe
that was my bowling strat.
The ball wrong. Joe told me I've been holding the ball wrong.
Yeah, okay. I don't know how you've only now realized this, and how nobody else has ever told you. I assumed that this was like a joke, but that they just played on you. But yeah, he was holding the bowling ball with the wrong fingers.
Well, I don't know. I've been holding the obviously you put your thumb in the bottom hole. Let's call it a Mickey Mouse shape for the sake of it. So I put my thumb in the face hole, and I've been putting my index and middle finger in the ear holes, so to speak. According to Joe, it's the middle finger and the ring finger, which is supposed to go in the upper holes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it improved me, but bowling's just a dumb thing you do for a bit of fun. Although having said that, it would be nice to get...
You say this as we were next to league night at the bowling alley. It was literally the competition league going on next to us.
At least, you know what? You can't be good at everything, and that's okay. So, I go home. What do we do next? We had something to eat?
I don't remember what we didn't do anything because it was like 9:00 and we just sort of went back to the house. We ate at the house, and then the next day you
let me drive the golf cart that day.
Yeah, that before we went out. Yes. That's we did that, and then the next day, what did we do? What did we do the next day?
We went to
Cedar Point, didn't we?
Now, I'm just going to... Cedar Point is an amusement park. I am more of a theme park kind of guy, where I like things that have a sort of aesthetic to them that I can sort of appreciate. Like
the aesthetic was roller coasters.
Yeah, but I wanted to go on a ride that was like somewhat exhilarating and fun, but also had like cool visuals to keep you entertained. Like you went through this tunnel and there's like, I don't know, you're going like a minecart ride and there's a whole like a bunch of, I don't know, moles dressed in mining gear or something.
The aesthetic is the roller coaster is in front of you.
Oh, I went on this like one. Joe, do you want to say the situation regarding you at this theme park?
Okay. For those of you who have made it this far in this episode, because I would like to point out that we have passed the 1 hour, 30-minute mark, which if we were doing a normal episode, Emerson would be yelling at me that I'm taking too long. But to sort of put a pin in this, if you are a roller coaster fan, look up, there is a ride at Cedar Point called Skyhawk. I don't remember the model name, but it's a giant frame with arms that swing back and forth, and it's like 150 feet tall. And at the end, as the ride goes, you're basically facing vertically straight down. I like this ride. I wanted to take Emerson on this ride because we'd only gone on one other roller coaster first. And because Emerson likes to walk around places and get a look at everything before he goes on stuff, and that doesn't really work when you're at an amusement park that's like multiple miles of walkways. So I sort of had to guide him into, we're going on this ride. We went on and so we walk up to Skyhawk, and I'm like, do you want to go on this? And he takes a look at it. Keep in mind, it is in the middle of a ride cycle, so the arms are moving. And he says, sure. We go on the Skyhawk. And I would like to point out that Emerson proceeded to be so scared by this ride that he refused to go on anything else for most of the day, despite having looked at it beforehand.
It looked fine.
He's like,
it looked fine from the ground.
It looked fine. You watched it go, and then you were like, holy shit, what's going on? And I'm sitting here.
Surely that was entertaining to you.
It would be, but also the seats on this ride were really slim, so I was more concerned with not falling out. But, also I'm just like, what do you mean holy shit? You looked at this ride. You were okay with it.
I'm okay. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever done in my life. I just, it's different being on the ground versus actually on the damn thing. Anyway, we did the Wild Mouse. That was probably the highlight of the day for me.
Yeah, we eventually made it through. The Wild Mouse is their newest roller coaster. Clearly designed by Europeans, clearly designed for thin people. It was not great. We got mixed in with some other people who were like a mother and her child, so I'm like trying not to like grab onto this random woman. And, you know, as the ride spins around, it was ridiculous. And that was about it in terms of rides we went on.
We went on the car.
Oh, yeah, we went on the little car ride where he got to drive it around because they're old-style cars, so the steering wheel was on the wrong side.
Yeah. But, and also I bought a candy apple that was like 1,500 calories.
You bought the candy apple and were so tired by it that you fell asleep on the drive home.
Did I actually? Did I actually fall asleep? You absolutely sat there very still and didn't make any noise for like 20 minutes. I went through Chick-fil-A and got sandwiches on the way home, and you didn't say anything until we were like merging back onto the street. So hearing this from someone else's perspective is just so funny. Oh yeah. Oh, we went to that restaurant that completely overcharged you.
Which place?
Just before Wild Mouse.
The restaurant in Cedar Point. Yeah, it's theme park pricing. Don't eat at Cedar Point. Go someplace else. But is there anything else that you can think of from Cedar Point?
The train was nice.
Oh yeah, we rode the train.
I've realized that I've sort of moved past roller coasters in a way. Like, you're just sort of standing around and queuing up for something that's just going to be over real fast.
Yeah, it's my local theme park. I like it. But anyways,
certainly not a problem. Saturday was the last day, and this is probably the most American day of my life, and I celebrated 4th of July at a summer camp.
Yeah, I saw that video. You posted that on Instagram. That is not a very good American thing. Like, that is not a good 4th of July parade. Go to any small town and you could have a better 4th of July parade.
Well,
he needs to do something American. I know, the Lorain County Fair is going on. So we go to the Lorain County Fair and we walk around and we do
everything.
Well, the Lorain County Fair, which I would like to point out, 2 days earlier had actively been under a foot of water because of Emerson. But because Emerson brought the rains. Brought the rains down from not Africa, from the place that colonized Africa. But anyways,
me and Joe are both just losing our minds.
Okay, you didn't say it would take this long. We're gonna fucking finish this. We go around the place. There's deep fried everything. He has like maybe one piece of it. We go look at all the stuff. He likes the animals. I hate the animals. So I let him go through the animal barns and everything. And then
I love animals.
I hate animals.
I love looking at the animals. Although I was reminded how deathly terrified of horses I am, because the horses at that county fair were fucking ginormous. Like,
it's a county fair. They have large horse competitions.
Like, easily we're talking 8-9 feet tall, these horses.
Yeah, sure, that's normal. Anyways, onwards to the main attraction, the Combine Harvester Demolition Derby. Now, if you're watching this on the YouTube
most
video,
insane thing ever.
I'm gonna try to remember to put video clips in here, but if you don't,
Joe should just make a compilation of.
That is not discounting that I might forget to do that, but I'm gonna try and put some video in here of the thing, and it is some big combine harvesters smashing into each other, boy. And we had like ground level seating, so there was some concrete blocks between us and nothing else.
Surprisingly, the minivan bit was more exciting because they were a bit more loosey-goosey.
There was they had a minivan and then a pickup truck heat. I thought the pickup truck heat was going to involve a death on the field. The minivan heat, they absolutely flipped one of the vehicles, and then that was so exciting. That was the most exciting bit of the day for me. I thought the combine harvesters were going to like kill us, but that was Definitely.
Some of the Combine Harvesters were dressed up like the characters in the Cars movies, which is a very
every
big
one of them had a theme.
There was literally a Combine Harvester in the Cars movies that no one copied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mentioned that. That was something. And then, yeah, we did that. What else did? And then there's going to be a break here where all the videos will go. If you're on the YouTube version, why
don't you just make a separate video?
No, it's going to go in here. And if you've made it this far in the YouTube video, hi, I love you. I'm so sorry this is taking this long. I wasn't told it was going to take this long either. But anyways,
you know the video of the one being flipped over? Put that right at the start of the episode with like a coming up in today's episode sort of thing.
Okay. I'll do my best. I can't make any promises, but
also earlier that day we went to like a car show.
Oh, we did. We went to a little car show in Norwalk, and then we went to the fair.
Joe has a right-hand drive car from Japan.
Yes, I did. I bought a JDM car because I wanted to have fun at car shows. And the thing is that I live in bumfuck nowhere, where the average classic car is a Ford Mustang, which means that nobody gives a shit about Japanese cars. So, not great on my part. But, anyways,
I enjoyed it though. I surprisingly enjoyed it.
You are much younger than the average classic car owner in rural Ohio. So that works. But anyways, we once the fair is over, that's basically it for Emerson's time in the country. Actually, one other thing. You definitely wanted to go out to drink. You expressed to me several times that you wanted to go out in the traditional English sense of get trashed. So naturally, what does Emerson do is he goes to a bar in Wellington, Ohio, which I would like to point out. I have called in some friends from high school who are like my getting trashed consultants because I don't drink that often.
Okay, this is a bit embarrassing.
And my getting trashed consultants. So we go out to a dive bar in Wellington, Ohio, specifically to get Emerson loaded because I thought that's what he wanted. Emerson proceeds to go up to the dive bar in Wellington, Ohio, which for those of you who don't get this, why I'm repeating this, Wellington, Ohio is like a speck on the map kind of town. If you've seen the movie Hot Fuzz, where Nicholas Angel asks what kind of wines they have, that's what Emerson did. Emerson asked the girl behind the bar if they had Sauvignon Blanc, and between his accent and the fact that Sauvignon Blanc is in French already, he might as well have asked for like something in Latin for all that this girl knew. Because they don't have Sauvignon Blanc. He's lucky they had red and white wines. And so, and multiple varieties thereof. I think they had like 3 white wines. And I'm just sitting there looking at him like, are you going to do this? And then you got snippy with me because I was like, you told me you wanted to go out and get trashed and you had 1 glass of wine. You had 1 glass of white wine and then we left. And then I would like to point out something else. You got morbid drunk in my car. Because on the way home, I run over a raccoon that darted into the street, and this motherfucker proceeds to spend the next 30 minutes of that car ride home telling me about dark and depressing comics he's read on the internet. We are doing 90 miles an hour by the time we get back to where I live, because I am otherwise going to eject him from the car. This is like nobody let him near a glass of wine.
Why didn't you just tell me to shut up? I would have done so.
I did.
Okay.
I said
you did,
this
and I did shut up. I did shut up.
We were 5 minutes from the house by that point. You had spent the previous 20 minutes telling me about comics featuring dead ducks. We were doing 90 miles an hour because I didn't have a better exit strategy.
I get very vulnerable when I drink. I'm sorry.
But why did you... Okay, fine. We're not... Okay. I'm good. I'm good. I dropped him off at the airport the next morning and managed to get a fucking speeding ticket. We're dealing... That's how my day went the next day. So...
Then I got a plane home, 2 planes home.
And somehow you managed to beat all of British air traffic control absolutely shitting itself and dying, which I'm very...
I guess my bad luck didn't run out.
You got me a speeding ticket instead.
Oh, that wasn't my fault.
Yes, it was, because we were supposed to leave by 7, and you were sitting there eating eggs until 7:31, and then we left, and then you were like, how far out are we? So I'm like, well, shit, too far. Gotta go faster, because otherwise Emerson's gonna be late. And do you know what? To my credit, we absolutely were not late. We were there faster than I've ever gotten to the airport, because I went quicker. Sure, but you looked at me like, why were you speeding, as the cop pulls up beside me? And I'm like, motherfucker, we are late.
And that was the story of Emerson's time in America.
Lots of fun times were had. This recording I thought would take 35 minutes. It's been almost 2 hours. We're going to hit stop right now. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, man.